Interesting stuff there, Yao Afro with that one. You're still watching Breakfast Daily on CTTV. It's now time for the nutrition segment. Remember, the show is interactive, and so you can join us via the WhatsApp line 0550585832, and of course on social media. But don't forget the hashtag Breakfast Daily. State-registered nutritionist Akusia Kunedu Yadom is here with us, and this morning we are talking abdominal fat and the risk associated with it. And I think this is quite important because inevitably we tend to accept it and think it's normal because in our minds it comes with aging. Well, human beings in our middle years tend to gather some fat around the belly, and we think it's normal, but as the fat increases, I mean, the proportion of fat to your body weight also comes with a health risk. And that's why Akusia is here this morning to help us understand the risk associated with abdominal fat and, of course, the remedies thereof. Good morning.
Good morning.
You're looking good.
Thank you. Yourself too.
Oh, wow. Thank you. So let's look at the risk involved. And, of course, we can run from the causes and then we can look at the risk factors and then the remedies, especially the natural ones, the food remedies to solving this abdominal fat. What our people tend to call it?
Sikefru. Yeah. So, in fact, that's what we used to measure what immediate.
And we do kakra.
And no
coins kakra.
Go fund me, mommy. Okay, so visceral fat or belly fat is extremely risky. It's unhealthy.
Really?
As far as health is concerned, it is unhealthy. So we just have to move from the space where we see that and people think they have invested into it. You are putting yourself at risk of a lot of issues. Now, when you see belly fat or visceral fat, that's the medical term, it is accumulation or you having a lot of fat surrounding the liver and other organs that are found there.
Okay.
The fallopian tube is found there. The ovaries are there. Blood vessels, many blood vessels are there. The spleen is there. We have the bladder being there, the colon being there. So if you have a lot of organs like this all being there and you have fat surrounding them, you can imagine the issues you can have.
Right.
So it is very important that we know this from get-go. Look at your belly. We'll go into the measurements for you to know if you fall here.
Or there.
This is how bad it is.
Right.
For a man, you shouldn't be above 0.9. We will explain that.
Right.
For a woman, you should be lesser than 0.85 or 0.8. So normally when I do the waist to hip ratio, you need to measure your waist, and we'll project how to properly check your waist as a woman, and how to check your waist as a man, how to check your hip as a man, and how to check your hip as a woman, for you to be able to calculate the ratio. So whatever you have, the waist you divide by your hip.
Oh, okay.
That will give you the ratio. If you are above 0.9 for a man, if you are 1, it means that you need to take whatever we are talking about, or you need to take steps. You need to consult your doctor if you're where you find yourself, you don't have a nutritionist, so that you will be referred to one. If you have access to a nutritionist or a dietitian, you can go directly to the person for that to be rechecked. For you to know, because now it's not just about your BMI. BMI alone is not enough, because when you look at your other host, Jifa, naturally she is well built.
She's sent out.
So you can't looking at her bone structure, her body physique. You can't use BMI alone to assess the status or the nutritional status or health status of the person. Now we do the body composition where you'd have to know even the total fat sitting in there. And me, for one, if you come to me, I do what we are talking about. I check the abdominal fat, because sometimes the BMI and everything is working, and it is a tricky thing with even the slimmer folks like ourselves. You have a slim lady like myself with something big, and because they look slimmer, you think everything is okay. If you have the measurements meeting above 0.8 for a woman, there is a problem. If you're a man and it's above 0.9 or if it's 1, it's funny. Somebody will go like 0.9 and 1 are the same, but 0.8 and 0.9 are not the same. Because if you come to me and you are 0.7 or 8 for a man, I can go like, okay, you are okay, but you need to take care because the chances of you falling into 0.9 is high.
Right.
But I can't give diagnosis that you have this. But if it is above that, then it's a problem.
Right.
So you need to really pay attention to this because it will increase your chances of having asthma. And now even with the younger folks, like the children coming to see me, like if I meet a child who is really, really big, I get too concerned because this is the early stages of this child's life. If you are starting with asthma, if you are starting with childhood obesity, the tendency that this child will grow up to become an obese adult is high. And they have self-esteem issues because my first client was 11. They were 2, 10 and 11.
Right.
When they entered with their mom, I thought they were walking in with their auntie.
Wow.
Very big.
Wow.
Very, very, very big. And when they sat, I was like, oh, Charlie, you are from a very, very, very good home, rich home for that matter. So you expect that they've met people, and so they can really they have like confidence. But they sat there and they couldn't even look at me. So it affects them not just about their health, but also it has everything to do with their psychology, how they are even able to kind of flow and feel confident about themselves. So it's a whole lot, and I know we can break it down based on your questions to just know how
let's look
go about
ideally, or what is the ideal waistline?
So for a man, 40 inches. If what we spoke about, you don't get it, but I'll teach you how to take it. But for a man, if it is above 40 inches, for a woman, it should be lesser than 35 inches. So your waist for a woman is an inch above your navel. What we call you a fruma.
Right.
So for a woman, that is where this dress is sitting. That is my waist as a woman. So for a man, this is what to look out for. That is your midsection. That is your waist as a man. And then for a woman too, you should know how to take it so that you know. So if you want to know your waist to hip ratio, now you need to divide your waist, the figure you are getting. You use a tape measure. You divide it by the figure you are getting for your hip, to get the ratio. If you are a man and you get above 0.9, there's a problem. If you are a woman and you are above 0.85 or 0.8, for you also there is a problem. So just look at it very well. It's different for men, it's different for women. Obviously, they can't have hips that we do.
Exactly. So I mean,
this is how it should be done. So if you are following whatever we are discussing, the waist over the hip will give you the value we spoke about. If it's above, we've mentioned it time without numbers. But if you are using, so for this, you need to use the centimeters column. For you to know the ratio, you need to use the centimeters column. And if you are using the inches column, that's the tape measure, we have the inches and then the centimeters. So that's what's on the screen is for the centimeters column. For the inches, if you measure using the same image, and as a man, you are about 40. There is fire on the mountain.
Wow.
As a woman, if you are above 35, there is fire on the mountain for you.
So for inches, there's a problem if the man is above 40. And it's problematic when the woman is about 35. And then for centimeters, danger for a man 0.9.
That's the ratio.
The ratio. Danger for a man 0.9, and that of a woman 0.85. Okay. All right. That's it. Now let's look at some of the foods. I mean, abdominal fat, or if we can say abdominal obesity, can be attributed to a number of things, including the diet, sedentary lifestyle,
to do with your diet.
Sedentary lifestyle, alcohol intake, and all that. But on diets especially, there are foods that contribute to this. So run us through some of these foods.
High fatty
and the
foods.
risk associated with them.
High fatty foods. So there are people who love to have their fast foods. So I want the French fries. I want the breaded chicken.
Right.
And when I speak about the breaded chicken, you can clearly see. You see the chips wrapped in that red thing. I wonder why policymakers are allowing them in, because you can clearly know what I'm talking about. So that chips in that box, and then that chicken sitting in buckets with a lot of. It's breaded, but you ask yourself, you taste it, and there is a reason why they even attach Coke to it.
We say breaded because it's got flour and everything on it.
But there is something, it's about the ingredients, it's about the spices being used. I will talk about monosodium glutamate, because if I cook for you and I don't put in what you want to taste, you tell me that, okay, hey, nice, because you would want to taste A1, which is loaded with monosodium glutamate. Very, very bad as far as increasing your sodium content is concerned. So if you are somebody who enjoys having this, very soon you have issues with your blood pressure, because you are putting pressure on your heart as far as pumping of blood is concerned. So foods like what we have on our screen, sodas, alcohol, yes, it will be grouped under food, because everybody. So once it has something to do with what you are, once it has something to do with what you are consuming, and obviously there are safer ways to go about alcohol, because I always say that I won't sit here and assume that everybody will just want to embrace everything I'm talking about, even if it's the healthiest option I am giving to people. The maximum is a shot. If you're
just
somebody who can,
a
shot when it comes to wine.
Per day or per hour? Hey, sir. So
for a woman, a shot is okay. For a man, you're allowed 2. For a man, beer. But it will increase your abdominal fat. I'm here to tell you the truth, but if you want to play stubborn and still do it, you are allowed.
I hope you guys are listening.
To 4. I'll check yours after the show. So you are allowed to do it if you can't avoid it, but I will wish that you avoid it completely to make sure that you are at least taking care. What are you without your ovaries as a woman? What are you without your fallopian tubes? So sometimes it has nothing to do with the witches. It has everything to do with what you are doing. It is about what you are putting in. So fried foods, fatty foods. Some of the oils on our market, sometimes you see them and you go like, hey, are human beings really eating this? They sit at room temperature and they solidify. So that is what is happening when you ingest it or when you take it into your system. You should go for the healthier alternatives. Sunflower oil, coconut oil, very, very affordable and cheap. And then make sure that you are eating a lot of whole foods. So take a lot of foods with fiber in them. Vegetables, excellent. You can never go wrong with vegetables. But the fruits, you need to be really, really cautious.
Those foods on the
these are whole foods. These are alternative proteins you can have. And funny enough, if you don't have a lot of protein in your diet, you can also increase your belly fat. So those who want to eat a lot of the carbs with no meat or protein in there too, there's a problem. You can eat gobe, because beans, I'll prefer you take even gobe, because beans is a first-class protein. Yes. So
I was actually surprised to find out that. I thought it was more of carbo.
No. Beans is a first-class protein.
That
beans and fish and egg, they're on the same level. So the gobe guys, thumbs up. So eating these vegetables, these foods will really help you as far as your fiber intake is concerned, because fat and fiber does a lot of wonders when it comes to fat, because sometimes you need to flush them out of your system. And
some say it's a natural purgative.
Yes, for some people, because if you have people, I struggle to really understand when people go like they can go 4 days, 5 days without using the loo. I'm like, no wonder your belly is fat. Because something has entered, it has to come out. Yes, for another thing to add on. So eating right will set you right as far as you having all you need. So the staples has to do with, we preach carbo and make it look like it's evil. Carbo is not evil, because even me sitting here talking, I need energy to be able to talk. I need energy to research. I need energy to work on whatever I need to work on as far as making this segment possible. You need energy to talk from 7:30 to 10 a.m. So it has everything to do with energy, and energy, powerful source of energy, has to do with the carbs or the staples, but it's the healthier alternative that would want to preach to you. Instead of you eating the banku, let's say I can go for oatmeal. It is the same carbo, but as far as oatmeal is concerned, okay, so there are people who don't like the cereals. You want, but I want to eat my wache. But I always say that if you know that you can really expend whatever you've put into you, I have no issues with you. I don't do well with starting heavy for the day. I am a cereal person. I'm a breakfast person. There are people who also want to turn it upside down and then have their heaviest for breakfast. Obviously, if you're a mason, if you're somebody who is heavily engaged in as far as your work is concerned, I can't fault you, because you can't go and drink Milo and go and start mixing mortar and carrying them. Obviously, those people, how many of them are big?
Not just a few. Even those, the big ones are for men.
But most of the times, like I always use my mother for example, she's naturally big.
Okay.
So
well, there are people like that.
There are people like that. Hers has nothing to do. I had a client, she said, so like, there are some people, because I am probably also eating like the average person will eat, but because of the genes I have, my dad was like this. Okay. So maybe this is why I'm looking, because people go like, is that your mom? You don't look anything like your mom. I don't have to be big. I'm a nutritionist. Hello. So you need to make sure that you are eating right, whole meals, staples, healthy alternatives, fruits and vegetables, healthy or essential oils, and then you having the right sources as far as the animal proteins are concerned. For meat, if you're somebody who naturally has a lot of that, you should do the lean part. Okay. So when you go to the supermarket, tell them you want the lean part. When you go to the Mayanka or the butchery, tell them you want that part that comes with no fat. It's you are buying it. Don't allow them to give you what they want. Yes. So make sure you are taking care of your diet. Make sure it is properly planned for you. If yours needs to be given attention, because you don't want insulin resistance setting in, you don't want diabetes setting in, you don't want liver issues setting in.
I was coming to that, the health issues associated with a bad waistline.
So, like I started off mentioning, we have diabetes, insulin resistance, and then we have compromised lung function. Wow. If your lungs are not functioning properly, some of these things we end up bringing it on ourselves. God will help us, but we need to also be responsible. And then we have asthma, and then you can be overweight or obese. Obesity is now diagnosed clinically. It's not now. Yes, that's it. It's diagnosed as a condition. So if you have it, you are sick. Wow. Now it's not like a life we will below a life. No. Because somebody looked at me once. I almost cried that day. Are you a sickler? Because I look slim. Yeah. Hey, I was like Ghana.
I think it's a perception we have.
Because we want everybody to look that big. Hello, I have a normal BMI. My everything about me is okay. This is how it has to be. There are people who are big, but they are healthy. There are people who are like myself and are healthy. We need to stop acting or assuming that we marry you slim, you become like this. Well, it is not a sign of good living. To paint
that picture.
And it's causing a lot of problems. Exactly. There are people, I've seen a woman deliver 51 and not now. Wow. But you come here 35, Accra Kumasi, menopause has set in. Menopause can also contribute to you having a lot of belly fat also, because of the fat that has to shift from the hip. Okay. So something happens to your body as far as this whole menopause thing is concerned. So the visceral fat will need to shift. They shift some of the fat storage from the hip to that area, and so it's very important that now it's not a thing of luxury. Everybody needs a nutritionist. You can go to the hospital. Some hospitals, they are free. You can, or you pay even a token just to assess them. If you can also afford one, you do it to make sure that you are helped, because once I say that you eat every day, I can go 365 days without going to the hospital.
Sure.
But I can't survive 365 days without food. So our life has a lot to do as far as nutrition is concerned.
All right. Akosia, thank you so much. So there you have it, abdominal fat, the health risks associated with it, the causes, and of course the food remedies, the dietary remedies available. Akosia, where can we find you?
Okay, so I'll try and put this article together and then just write something on my page on Instagram. At the nutritionist Akosia. At the nutrition, you can follow me or send me messages there at the nutritionist Akosia, and on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, nutritionist Akosia, and you can WhatsApp me on 0243350206. 0243350206.
Thank you so much, Akosia.